Hey teacups, it's your girl Monica. Welcome back to the All About the Tea channel. Joining me tonight are Teacup affiliates, Plez. Hey, Plez.
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's the lip color of the day?
It's just a little light coral lip gloss from Revlon called Coral Reef.
Oh, okay. I like that. Very Caribbean. Okay.
Girl, we always talking about it. In the words of Jeezy, I need a vacation, baby.
Child, don't get me started now. Okay. Bishop. Hey, Bishop.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, how you doing? I see you
I'm doing
got
pretty good.
Representing tonight for Princess.
No doubt, no doubt. All my people in the Chi-Town.
We got Schoolboy in the building. Hey, Schoolboy.
Hey.
And joining us tonight are Teacup affiliates, Marcella. Hey, Marcella.
Hey, everybody. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Marcella speaking tonight.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. All right.
I see you.
We also have So Debonair joining us. Hey, So Debonair.
Good.
Mark,
How you doing, brother? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. You look good. All right, y'all. It seems like there was some activity in this chat before we even started.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Baby, the feds is watching. Somebody watching.
Well, you know, they say this is Homeland Security and the CIA and the feds all wrapped up in one. We're several agencies over here. You know what they say. Well, anyway, first and foremost, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I need you to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you're already subscribed to the channel, ding that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the piping hot tea that we serve on this channel. And while you're at it, you might as well hit that like button. Teacups, on the agenda tonight, we are discussing Raz B's abuse allegations against his cousin Chris Stokes, his brother Ricky Romance, and Marques Houston. Let's get into it.
A website called All About the Tea.
He told All About the Tea that during the fight,
Hello, So we already have a super chat. Thank you, Delicia. We appreciate that. It's very nice of you. Thank you. All right, y'all. So tonight we are discussing Raz B's allegations, which, you know, we've all heard them. They've been around for a very long time. And it's a first for this channel to dive into them, but it won't be the last. I can tell you that much. Okay, so Demario Thornton, aka Raz B, is a member of the 2000s R&B group B2K. For those that don't know, back then the boy band rose to fame and stole the hearts of fans worldwide. But the group has made headlines over the past decade after Raz B came forward in 2010 to tell a graphic story of sexual abuse at the hands of his cousin / manager, Chris Stokes, and R&B crooner, Marques Houston. Over the years, Raz has also accused his brother, Ricky Romance, of sexual abuse. Raz claims Ricky Romance and Marques Houston groomed him throughout his childhood. But recently, Raz B did an Instagram live with Love and Hip Hop star Moniece Slaughter to further elaborate on the allegations. Why don't I stop right there, and why don't I have the panel sound off on that portion of this report? Plez, what are your thoughts?
I'm just here to learn more about the story. You definitely just enlightened me with this intro. I've only heard the allegations mainly about Chris Stokes and Marques Houston. I had not heard about the other alleged parties, but I'm glad that we're confronting this and confronting this issue and having this conversation, because it's a very important one to have, as we've been talking about with sexual assault before, alleged sexual assault in the music industry. It's been going on too long, and we need to start having these conversations and shining so that victims can get the justice and the healing that they need. And unfortunately, too often in our society, male accusers never seem to be taken seriously or investigated thoroughly. And I think that's a double standard that needs to cease to exist. Male children are often victimized, and that trauma affects them just as much as it affects female children.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that we're doing it.
Good. I would even take it a step further and say Black males and Black male minors as well. Bishop, what are your thoughts just on the allegations? We're going to dive deep into this. But what are your thoughts?
I'm glad that it's being talked about. Oftentimes, we don't really talk about abuse being done to Black male children. It's almost like push it aside. You know, it's already hard enough being a Black person, period. But on top of that, to fight for your masculinity every day, it's like, wow, like it's just an ongoing thing. So just to have these conversations is much needed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So Debonair, your thoughts on just the allegations?
I mean, when I first heard him, I believed him. I mean, I'm always going to be that person especially when it comes from a man being molested or raped by another man. That's just something that's really hard for guys to do. So I really couldn't just see him lying and risking everything just, for that. And I for Stokes is a creep.
He absolutely is. Absolutely. Marcella, what are your thoughts on the allegations?
On the allegations, I will say that I believe this because the industry is a pet of ring and it's dressed up in glitz, glamour, and a couple of dollars. And this young man has been speaking out for a very long time. And just like Debonair said, that it is hard for a man to come out and say this has happened to them. And it has happened to a lot of males, Black males in the industry. So I'm doubling down and saying, I believe this happened to him and he needs to be protected.
Absolutely. I just want to give a shout out to Sincere. Thank you so much for the super chat. Why did he not say something back in the days instead of holding it in for so many years? Yeah, I hear that a lot, and there's some psychology around that. We're going to get into it. Schoolboy, your thoughts on the allegations?
I believe him 100%. I believe that it did happen. I believe that, a lot of, my uncle was assaulted by the church choir director, pastor of the church, so these things do happen, and it does forever shape, a man's emotional stability, the way he views, sex, the way he views life, and just wanting to even be close to people. So I'm glad that we are actually speaking on this because a lot of people have been asking for us to talk about this. We constantly always shed light on women, but we don't shed light on Black men. So I am, I'm elated that we're actually talking about this, and so that, we can get, Raz B the justice that he deserves and the closure as well with this. He's been consistent with the same story. He's never changed his story. So with that being said, that's a lot right there. That tells you he's not out here chasing anything. He's telling the truth.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let's get into that. The question that Sincere had, why don't they come forward sooner? Why? I would say shame. Like Schoolboy mentioned, a lot of young males, especially males, right? Females as well, but for males to actually come forward and talk about being sexually assaulted, especially from another male, a lot of times they're immediately labeled as gay. And there's a stigma attached to that, even though you would think in today's society that we've progressed way beyond that. A lot of males sometimes feel that they don't want to be labeled that, or they're scared. So instead of coming forward, they hold on to that shame and pain, and it manifests itself in different ways in their life too. How they, how they are in relationships, whether it be, a romantic relationship or a professional relationship. It often manifests itself in those ways. Plez, do you want to chime in on any other reasons? I mean, there's denial, that type of thing.
It's everything that you said. I can only speak about the Black community because that's the community that I live in and have lived in for my whole life. But historically, we have to be honest and say that our community shuns these types of conversations. It's hush hush. When it happens to lots of people. It happens in lots of families. This stuff didn't just start happening yesterday. And when you said that one of the accusers or the alleged perpetrators was his cousin, it happens all the time. Somebody's cousin, uncle, brother, daddy touches them. And if the child is strong enough, or teenager, whoever, young adult, is strong enough to go to an authority figure, they're usually told, they're usually like not believed, or they're told to keep it quiet because they don't want brother, uncle, daddy, cousin going to jail. And it's a hush hush kind of family secret. Don't leave the kids around Uncle Johnny. Don't take the kids over to granddaddy's house. Y'all left him with him. So you hide it and you push it under the rug, and these people go on to molest and take advantage of child after child after child. And I don't know why we have such hard issues with those stigmas. I'm sure the psychology is very deep of where it comes from. It also happens in other communities. We saw what happened with the Catholic priest scandal. But everybody wants to believe that their husband, uncle, brother, daddy, whoever, auntie, because women molest young males as well, that they would never do that. And that's just not, unfortunately, that's not the reality that we live in. Also, I do want to point out, as we've already said, to his credit, he's been talking about this, screaming it from the rooftops for over 10 years. So, B2K was popular around 2000 to like 2003, 2004, maybe a little later with the Scream tours. He probably was under some type of contractual obligations, and things where he couldn't really say some stuff that he wanted to say. And once that popularity kind of waned and he got away from those people who were puppeteering him, he's been using his voice. So, I can't say that he's waited such a long time. He's been vocal about this for years now.
Yeah. Schoolboy, what are your, not Schoolboy, I'm sorry, Bishop, what are your thoughts on the reasons victims stay quiet for so long?
Guilt and shame.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, if they're family members, you don't want to see them get in trouble. Especially so close to him. It's just, you said cousin and brother. So you definitely don't want to see your cousin and brother go down, especially when you've been taught to, it's already hard enough for Black people to be successful. You want me to take them down along with the family gonna be calling me and like, why is you doing this to your cousin and brother? You lying. So it's so many layers and dynamics to it where it's so ancestral and stuff it's crazy on how we almost like to minimize what a Black boy goes through and a Black man goes through, and then it's almost like, oh well, you're a man, you can handle that, you know what I mean? Oh, you should get over that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, excuse me, like I have feelings too. I'm not a machine. So it's almost like you're almost dehumanized and debased, like you're not a person, and that all stems back to slavery, and to where you're almost like almost like an ox, just treading every day, and you got to get over it and move past it, and a lot of time this stuff psychological to where I don't know how to deal with this, so let me deal with it in different, almost like crazy ways. So it looks very erratic, but if you don't deal with it, it's going to come out in a certain way.
Absolutely. Schoolboy, do you want to sound off on, one of the many reasons why victims stay quiet for so long? I'm going to add to that. Sometimes they blame themselves too for it happening.
I think just families, just it's like it, but nobody really want to say nothing, because it's like it's that hidden secret, it's that thing everybody know, but we just not gonna talk about it. We gonna act like it don't exist, So often in our community, we sweep everything underneath the rug and act like it doesn't exist, but you don't realize that you are affecting your children every day by not acknowledging it, not doing the right thing, and not putting that person behind bars, especially if they're touching your kid. Like, I don't understand this mindset of constantly sweeping things under the rug. This is why so often as we become adults, we have dysfunctional relationships. We don't know how to love. We are, screaming, we want love, but we don't know how to give it because we lack the emotional intelligence to be able to give unconditional love. And it's really sad that you have a lot of Black men and women out here just we broken as a community, and we're not doing anything about it to heal it. Everything is go to church, go to church, go to church. But sometimes the church is the main thing that's hurting us. And we've got to get out of that mindset of not wanting to do therapy, not wanting to heal each other, not wanting to have these conversations, because these conversations are needed. We do need to have these conversations. This man has been screaming this for over 10 years, and it's falling on deaf ears. Like, don't nobody even care. Look how long it has taken so many people to get taken down. Decades. But people just sat back and let it go because, hey, as long as money was getting involved and everybody was getting paid, it didn't matter.
Right. Good points. So you mentioned fear of consequence too. As children, especially, you don't want to be a troublemaker. You don't want to start trouble because a lot of times too, you're going to people like a parent or a trusted family member and they turn it on you. You're lying. You're starting trouble, that kind of thing. Marcella, can you add to the conversation in terms of why victims stay quiet?
They stay quiet because you know what? He probably did tell a trusted family member, and they probably said, look, we need this money. The group is going to break up. If you say anything, just be quiet and take it so we can make this money. And guess what? He has carried it. And then when he started talking about it, because I know in March 14, 2019, he refused to even perform with the group because he was in fear. So he started taking power back. Raz B has been taking his power back by saying, forget that money. I'm not going to mess with them. But I can imagine his family needed the money. He had to put up with it. And he did. And his group members were probably telling him, listen, we need this money. Just take it for us, man. My mama needs this. My daddy needs this. My family needs this. And he had to sit on it. And it was because of money and fear and stress of, and depression. And his family members had to know he was going through something, because when a child's molested, they change. Their whole dynamic changed. They don't want to go outside anymore. They don't want to watch cartoons. They don't want to eat their favorite cereal. That somebody knew he was going through this. But I'm glad today we're helping him take his power back.
Absolutely. And also not just his money, but the band members' money too, right? Because they have families. They don't want him messing up everything where they can't get deals or he can't be a part of the group to perform. They don't want, they put this pressure on you to stay quiet. Preach Love, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. Raz B is telling the truth. It's other victims. Trust me, he's not lying. Yeah. So Debonair, why do victims stay quiet?
So you guys know I've shared this happened to me before on this channel.
Yes.
And I think that you have to realize, like, you have no idea what they were telling him, after this, because not only is he, helping finance the family, but he also had this band that's like one of the biggest groups of young men out at the time. So a lot of times what they do is, and not to speak for me, my fear was, I was going to lose my family. In the Black family, that's the most important thing. Family, you sweep everything underneath the rug. You don't really talk about a lot of things. They just keep you away from so-and-so if they, how they are. So to me, I just feel like, when I hate when I see that question, like, why did they not say anything at this time? You have no idea what they were telling him or what mental space he's going in. And then who's he going to tell? This is the family that's doing it to me. So who's he telling? It doesn't, you don't feel like you have like a safe space or someone safe to talk to, because if my family's doing it to me, I can just imagine who else that I'm telling that this is happening to. And then the other thing you have to realize is you have to be careful who you tell as well, because let's say that I told someone and this is their pattern in life, like this may open up throw some red flags up that it's already been happening to me. I'm already keeping a secret about my family. Now, this is an opportunity for this person to do it to me as well. So there's a lot of fear, intimidation. And I think a lot of it, someone posted on here, it's that whole Black family, survival thing to me, I think.
That too. And then fear of you're telling someone you trust and they may go tell your accuser and you may get abused even more. You know what I mean? Instead of going to the authorities and the proper people, they go tell the accuser. So-and-so's accusing you of doing this. You ain't do that, right? Or I'm just looking out for you. I'm just letting you know that so-and-so said you did this. You better go handle that. It's sad and it's very, very sick. Eureka, thank you so much for the super chat. Y'all are telling the truth. Thank you. Yeah. Mama, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play the interview that Raz had with Moniece recently because it was a very good one. And again, he's telling the story he's been telling for the past 10 years. Nothing's changed. Not one thing has changed. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
His family and always been just a love bug, always a positive energy, always really supportive of others. And for a while, I didn't know what Raz had endured. It wasn't until he went public, and I'm not going to lie, I owe Raz an apology, because I was one of those people who watched it, and said, oh my God, he's gone crazy, right? And before I add him, what I'm not going to tolerate is this. As a community, as a people, we are on the internet hooting and hollering about Black Lives Matter. Protect Black women, protect Black mothers, protect our kings, protect Black men, protect our kids. We want law enforcement, government agencies, government officials who were sworn in to protect and serve us to do just that. Yet we do not protect each other, and we do not serve each other for the greater good of that individual or for us as a community, as a people. How can you expect someone else to protect and serve you, and you don't protect and serve yourself or each other? How can you hold someone to a standard that you don't uphold? How can you? How? Mental health is so important, blah, 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 right? And yet we're on the internet tearing each other down tearing Raz down, sexually insulting him, gay, this, that. It makes my stomach turn. And I don't speak on B2K matters or affairs that don't have to do with the father of my child or my child. Because somehow everything I say, everything I do gets turned back into that. But there are some things, and I've prayed about this, I've gone back and forth about this, and I was gonna post something actually tomorrow. So God makes no mistakes. It's no mistake that I went live and that the first half of this live was heavy on my heart, and then Raz was in the comments, right? I've prayed, I've toiled, I've contemplated. How am I going to say it? Raz and I have the same publicist, Barbara Sanchez, and she texted me when he first went public again recently, and I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? And she was like, we're all supporting Raz. And I was like, well, Raz has my support in real life. I don't want to be involved. And then I kept seeing it, and I kept thinking, and then I thought to myself about how I feel being torn down on the internet every day, about how I feel when I'm speaking about mental health and mental wellness and people are bringing up my brother, or how I could comment something general and generic on a blog post and people come in there talking about me not taking care of my kid or not being on medication or this and that. To have millions of people against me when not only what I'm saying is valid, warranted, tried, true, righteous, and real, but they don't even know me. And they are there with the sole intent, no reason other than to just be mean. Family.
Yo, man. I'm kicking a lot of knowledge.
First of all, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just actually just resting. I'm in Florida. I want to tell you I appreciate your apology. I've always kind of stayed away from you because I knew you was in a relationship with my group member, and obviously we've been knowing each other since we were kids, right? So teens and whatnot, and we've all grew up and we've all went down our own paths. For me, I stand by everything that you just said because that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? God put you in this position. God's giving you this platform. God has made you enlightened. So it's not really about what anybody else thinks. It's about what you know is what's right in your heart. If you know you need to feed your baby, it's not because, I'm going to be a bad mom, I'm not going to feed my kid. No, you need to feed your kid because you love your kid. And it's your job to nurture and take care of your kid because no one's going to take care of your kid the way you would. One time I'll show you, right. Second time I'll help you, third time you're on your own. And that's how the world is.
Right.
For me, a lot of people don't really know this, but I'll say this because we are, tomorrow's not promised, so it'll be in God's will. I have always been, I want to call it like a innocent bystander. I never wanted to be an immature. My brother wanted to be an immature. My brother had a relationship with Chris. I didn't know them, but what I did know is the first time I learned how to masturbate, I was at Chris's house. Ricky was on one side of the bed, and my cousin Tony Scott was on the other side of the bed. Why am I learning at 5 or 6 years old how to jack off at Chris Stokes' house? Right? Years down the road, before you know it, I hear stories of Ricky about to be an immature, before Marcus Houston was an immature, before Imani. Imani called me on my 33rd birthday. He said,
wow.
They're going to see me. Got my number randomly. So I'm just looking, I'm like, so now I'm over here living with Chris. My mom was going through what she was going through. I'm living with Chris. And before you know it, the process starts. Starts with Chris, starts with Marcus, so on. I don't need to name too many names. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've always tried to be diplomatic and keep my personal business or my family business out of the media. Now, once I told my brother what had happened to me, he contacted someone. I don't want to say that person's name too, out of respect, but it was a producer's son that worked with Chris for a very long time. And long story short, they decided to upload that first video. That's like me and you chilling at the house, at your family's house, we in the back in the pool making a steak or something, and I tell you some shit, and maybe you're holding the recorder, but you run off and you have it uploaded. not knowing, thinking that it's helping a good cause, but it didn't. When that video
Right.
came out, I just did a deal with Zab Judah because it was the three of us, and we were supposed to show up for New Year's. It wasn't a lot of money, but because Zab was a good friend of mine, but I think it was like 10 grand. I gave each one of the boys 3 bands. You know, I'm always looking out for everybody. I threw Ricky a stack for bringing the deal to the table because we were just still, you know, moving around looking for new management. Well, when that video came out, everybody had to push back. Now, when everybody pushed back, I tried to be cool with everybody. First thing I see, your baby father, I don't fuck with homos. Why you coming at me, my nigga? Like, for real, why you coming at me? You want me to talk about your business? You feel me? So to each his own. Everybody has their own stories. You know what I'm saying? We can all speculate. I only want to speak on my life. You know what I'm saying? Because I have respect and integrity for people. But even I was just looking recently. I was like, in my last 2 interviews, from Vlad to Breakfast Club, I was still very diplomatic in how I chose to move past. You get more bees with honey. Why should I? You know, it's a family matter. It should be handled eternally, and that's how it should have been. But when I know people are fucking with me, trying to put me on the phone. If I really wanted to reconnect with my cousin, there's a way that needs to be done. You can't just spring that on me and tell me, hey, how do you feel about your cousin dressing you? Huh? How do I feel about my cousin dressing me for the Millennium Tour, so on and so forth?
Right.
I respect certain people's movement and how they try to move because we're public figures, right? We don't need our business out there.
Right.
But hold on, didn't God put us in a position to actually help people and lead people, not mislead people? So we wind up being, whether we know it or not, we wind up being a part of the problem versus a part of the solution. So I sat back. I'm filled with the Holy Ghost. I speak in tongues. You know, long story short, Chris, Jehovah's Witnesses, and we see how they're moving over there. But I remember my mom lived with Irene, which is his mother, and my brother and myself. They kicked us out because we didn't go to the Kingdom Hall with them. Years later, the light, me, I go to live with Chris. We build an empire together. Chris told me after I flipped over his desk, he said, everybody's jealous of our relationship. Not knowing when you're a kid, you don't really know what's going on, but I'm designing the tour stages. I'm doing a lot. So whether I know it or not, people are getting jealous. I remember on the You Got Served set, there was like, yo, we think it's time for you to get out and move. And I just looked at him like I thought I was a part of the circle. Like, I thought this is my family. You got guardians.
Get out of the group?
Just leave, period. They was at that time they was making, you know, let me get Amari, I got Marcus, and you know, shout out to Amari, shout out to Orion. I know, you know, they do their own thing. And I just respect the fact that years later, being diplomatic, people still decided that, you know what, Raz is a good dude. He went out of his way to buy the trademark, put it in everybody's name. He went out of his way to make sure he found $3 million so we all could bring back B2K so God can get the glory. Regardless of what happened on the tour, I felt like me personally, I would have never not allowed for one of my group members to finish the tour over my dead body. There would be no way I would go on stage and be like, nah, I'm doing this not unless I'm forced to. Like, I was in jail those 2 nights, you know what I'm saying, for that incident. So I just felt like, I don't care if nobody believes me or don't nobody believe me. My truth, my testimony, how I move my life and how I move, the truth is evident, right? And I agree with you when, as a community, we're supposed to support each other. Now, I was in China, I got hurt. Everybody almost thought I was dead because, once again, Ricky put out a fake press release. But I got a chance to see what it was like if I was dead. And I was watching Twitter and all the people that were supporting and all this. And I was like, damn, so many people die because they're hurt and they're in pain, they're alone. And where was everybody? So my same thing right now is, where the fuck was everybody then? They were always been there. They just didn't have the courage. Not everybody's filled with the Holy Ghost. Not everybody's bold. Not everybody speaks in tongues. Not everybody's going to stand up to the big bad wolf and say, hey. And that's kind of what that was in the last week. It was like, Jason Lee wants to give me my flowers. She was on the interview that he did back in 2007 with Charlotte Mann, Claudia Jordan. And anybody that's know Raz, they know, like you said, I'm about love and positivity. Now, if you push on me, I'm going to push back on you. Now, I'm not going to do anything
Right.
to incriminate myself. I'm not going to do anything to hurt anybody, but I do have a voice, and my voice speaks volumes. And like I said, I'm a 35-year-old man, and I want to fade. Fuck the courts, fuck all the streets. I want to
So
fade.
that was going to be my next question. So what at the end of this,
Oh, that nigga's. Sorry, go ahead.
aside from the fade, hold on, Red. Yes? What time is it? Is it? Oh, snap. Yeah, we'll leave in 8 minutes. Did you put on basketball clothes? You have clean ones in the dryer. Okay, you have your basketball shoes? You need a ball? They're in the garage in the corner behind the go-kart. On the right-hand side, on the other side of mommy's truck. Sorry, we have basketball practice.
No, that's so.
So my quick one question before I go, and then maybe we'll set a time to come back, so we could really get into it. But before I go, my question is, aside from the fade, what is your ultimate wish or goal? Like, I know you said the polygraph, a catch and a fade, which is both are fair. But is the goal, like, what does justice for Raz look like to Raz? Like,
Oh man,
are you know what I'm saying? Like,
I got you.
Not only just helping other people,
Right.
but
That's inevitable.
right. So not just that being a goal, but and not just freeing yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally from that. You deserve an apology from really the world, because you've been gay shamed, you're this, you're that, your career, your character, your image, all of that has been tarnished. So aside from getting that back, what does justice for you, to you, look like? Is that Chris apologizing? Is that jail time? Is that, he says sorry and you guys part ways and never speak, deal about each other, to each other, with each other again? You get to stand in your glory, stand at the top of the mountain, hold your dick, and fuck you. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or is it just,
right? I think,
you know what I mean?
No, I got you. I'll let you go because I know you got to take care of Cam. It's all of that. Whatever's coming to him for the things that he's done, he knows. And there's so many people that are ready. You feel me? So he made his bed. He has to lie in it. In a perfect world, I would love an apology publicly. I would love this. I would love him to be like, you know what? I love you. Not everybody is fucked up in jail. Maybe he needs to be in a mental institution. Maybe, but when I have people like my cousin, trying to, talk to other people like Eriniqua, I say her name, and they start writing stuff like I'm delusional. When I see people trying to shut down my interviews or whatever the case may be, if I want to say that Marcus Houston used to fuck me in my ass, who's going to stop me from saying that? You get my point? So my point is, nigga, you can come see me. I don't give a fuck about this. This is not about no industry shit. This is about some real life, my God against your fake ass God. So the Bible says, touch not the anointed one, do my prophets no harm. So don't come over here with that, because that's not it. So in a perfect world, that would be nice. If it happens, it doesn't happen. But, I'm going to spend every dollar that I have to make sure that I get the justice that I feel I deserve. You feel me? And it is what it is. But that dude is wrong to a lot of people. They're not happy. They're going to turn on you. So you're not God. You're not almighty. And your time will come. So I'm just going to keep doing me like I've been doing. Because like I said, I've been diplomatic. And I'm going to continue. And I would like to continue to be diplomatic. But I'm moving forward. And I'm going to focus on my foundation. I'm going to focus on my book. I'm going to focus on the things that God wants me to focus on. I'm not going to be a slave to the world. Or I'm not going to be confined to act this way, because I feel like if I don't do this right, I'm not going to get a check. Like, get out of here. It's a big world here. Unfortunately, I don't fit in that little circle. But when it's all said and done, I never did anything to anybody. I sat back and I listened to people talk about me in songs. People called me gay. People, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit's fucked up.
Yeah,
Imagine
it is.
if I wasn't strong enough and I decided to do something to my
That's
life.
my point.
Yeah, I
That's
get
my
it.
point. When is it gonna be enough? Like what? Like that's my point.
To be continued.
Strangers, remove TUG from the equation. Insert man, insert team, random, whoever. And B2K was still B2K. You were still you in terms of in the public eye. And all these strangers, all these industry cats, all these media outlets back in the day before Instagram was as big as it was, and Snapchat and Bigo and all these things that gave us voices, every individual a voice, right? When is the badgering of people for coming forth about mental health, spirituality, sexuality, abuses of all kinds, when is it going to be enough? When somebody offs themselves? Then it's enough? Then it was, oh, well, he was a public figure. That's what you get when you're famous. That's what you get when you're a celebrity. No. Public figures, celebrities, they are still people.
I refuse to be a
So
statistic.
when is enough going to be enough? When the man puts a 9 to his head and blows his brains out, hangs himself, overdoses, when is it going to be enough? And then you look at, there was a time where you were, out of control with the substances and stuff like that. But did anyone ever stop to think? Because that's really, I'm going to be honest, when it changed for me.
Well,
that's when I felt like, okay, he's coping with something.
Let me correct you for this. We can finish.
I'm sorry if I made a mistake.
Yeah. I remember the first time I popped the pill. My brother gave it to me. I was in the studio with some artists. It was an experience. Doing a lot of this stuff, I was not doing drugs. I was drinking more so. But I do understand what substance abuse can do. But I'm just a strong character. And I realized for myself, I was like, you know what? Sin all grown up leads to death. If I'm drinking all the time, or if I'm, I'm medicating all the time, there's a few times I tried other experimental drugs, but, I felt like if I had, let's just say my brother, you're supposed to be my protector. You're not supposed to be the person to molest me. You're not supposed to be the person to hurt me. You're not supposed to be the person to pick up the phone and say, hey, my brother can sing and send me over to Chris Stokes. I feel like they you know what I mean? So I feel like, where's the protection? So the only protection I really have is myself and God. So it's really about me walking through this sinful life and drawing closer back to my Heavenly Father. And that's what happens when you're in this world or you get, pulled away. So, to be continued. And
yes, I got to get out of here.
Definitely should talk some more. And thanks for having me. And shout out to everybody in the thing.
No, of course. I'm going to.
All right, y'all. That was very, very deep. Thoughts, Plez, thoughts on that interview?
It's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. He was definitely lucid. As we already said, his story has been consistent. For him to say that he remembers the earliest sexual activity among the cousins or brothers learning to masturbate at 5 or 6 just shows kind of what I talked about before, how far back it goes in the family pathology that's there. I can't even necessarily blame that on the industry. It seems like the family itself, just had some issues that unfortunately one of the family members ended up being big in the music industry and then took those deviances and habits into the industry where unfortunately because of money and fame and all those things it became protected. It became normalized. It became just too much too soon. Even him, when he talks about drinking and doing drugs, at the height of their career, they were teenagers. They were young men. So it was all a cocktail and a recipe, honestly, just for disaster. And it sucks because it makes people think and look at their kids who are talented and who have dreams it really makes you question if you would ever really want your child to be involved in a music group. Because when you hear these stories of managers and producers and people who you entrust with your child violating them, it's horrible. And that is why justice, I know he said what his form of justice looks like, but that's why on a bigger level we do need actual criminal justice, so that hopefully it can send a message to others who are committing these same acts even up to today.
Yeah, it sounds like he was being groomed, and the people around him, instead of protecting him, preyed on him. I just want to acknowledge a few super chats. Ron Allen, thank you so much for the super chat. Kaza Love, thank you, my love. Kaza said, let me read it here. Thank you to everyone on the panel and in the chat. I am grateful for a space to have support, love, and understanding from this heavy topic. Yes, yes. Shanika, thank you so much for the super chat. My heart hurts for him. I too was violated as a child. We didn't deserve that. No child does. Stay strong, Raz. I believed you since day one. Oh boy. Thick Girl 40, thank you for the super chat. The worst phrase in the Black family and community is what's done in the house or family stays in the house or in the family. Don't talk to anyone else. Yes, 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 absolutely. I agree with that. Schoolboy, what are your thoughts on that interview?
As an empath and being in tune with in tune spiritually, I felt the energy. I knew he wasn't lying. Like, it's just amazing what people will do for fame and money. You know, it says in the Bible, for the love of money, and people will sell their soul to get that money, or to, you know, you give your kid away just to get the money. He's not the only kid in the industry that has gone through it, and you wonder why a lot of them have erratic behavior, or they sold this, or they're always acting crazy online, or it seems like they're coming out crazy, they're screaming for help. You know, and the sad part about it is that we brush it off as, oh, they just crazy, they just playing, they, you know, whatever. But it's really something there. And instead of us getting the healing or even talking about it as a community, we allow them generational curses to keep happening. We let it go, and we let it go, and we let it go. And it's up to us to make it stop. And I applaud him for even standing in his truth to saying, you know what, this gonna stop with me. You know, I don't care what y'all do to anybody, but this is going to stop with me, and speaking his truth, because it takes a lot to speak your truth and to be honest and to stand in it. Because I'm quite sure he's been threatened and everything else over the years about even speaking or even saying anything. And it's just a thing as far as Black men, it's already a stigmatism. And then immediately you want to say somebody's gay. Just because somebody get molested don't mean they're gay. It was something that happened to them. They didn't ask for that to happen. Kids don't ask for those things to happen. But we so often just, you know, we just keep it shut up, and we act like it doesn't exist. And it's really pathetic, and it's sad that we have an industry that protects predators like this and protects stuff like this, because as long as the money is coming in, everybody's happy. It's when the money stops that everybody gets upset, and now everybody wants to shy away and they want to back up, and oh no, we don't want to be a part of it. But I do appreciate him just being honest and just saying, speaking his truth. That takes a whole lot, and people need to give him credit for that and stand with him, because that man is telling the truth. I don't care what nobody say, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, I'm an empath too, and he is definitely telling the truth. He's speaking from a place of hurt and deep, deep pain, and he just wants justice as much as everybody else around him. That's why he keeps talking about it. It's therapeutic too as well. Every time he tells that story, a little piece in him heals, but he'll never heal completely until those predators behind bars. Bishop, sound off on the interview. What were your thoughts?
Where do I start? I'm glad he's telling his story. More men need to tell this story. Like I tell you, I talk to a lot of brothers and they tell me their story like, bro, I'm glad you told your story. And it changes you. It's almost like a part of you dies. And the reason why I know, because that happened to me as a kid, around 8 years old. So a part of you like dies. And then on top of that, if you ever been molested or abused, um, sometimes your abuser will sit there and make fun of you and taunt you, and it's a mind altering thing. It's like 1 minute you want me, next minute you making fun of me, and it's so much stuff goes on in your head. It's like a whirlwind of you. Like, how do I deal with this as a kid? You know what I mean? So you begin to pick up different vices. And for him, he said he started drinking, and he said he started, doing other stuff. People don't know that you start to develop bad habits if that's not dealt with. And it's so much of a crazy thing. Like, it's almost like a hurricane in your mind, and you don't know where to land. Because it's like, if I land over here, how they gonna perceive me? If I land over there, will they call me a bunch of names, and things of this nature? If I don't say nothing about it, I'm gonna self-destruct. And it's like, it's almost like a lose-lose situation. So it's like that brother even just saying it and speaking out about it, and for his life to be, upside down for even, speaking on it, it it's so sad. It really is. It really is so sad, because 1 minute he's keeping it to himself and he's getting money and they're on the top of the world, but at the same time he's self-destructing. And when he finally speaks up and he begins to finally begin to heal, he's starting to get destroyed on the outside, because people's throwing darts at him. People telling you, go ahead and just, kill yourself, and you destroyed the group, and this, that, and the third, and why are you trying to destroy this black man? And like, bruh, I'm a black man too. Why y'all allowing this black man to keep destroying other people? So it's crazy, and it's almost like it's a catch-22.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And I know this is a very touchy subject for myself included, and everyone on this panel, and folks in the chat. Listen, so Debonair, what are your thoughts on that interview?
One thing that he said that I think I forgot to say on that first part was, and this is like something that's very sentimental to me, is this: the worst thing that can be called as a young man growing up is being gay, right? Especially back at that time. So I understood that, you know what I'm saying? I think that probably was maybe the bigger picture of why you didn't say anything back then, because if you were gay, you were weak. You didn't get respect. For me as a kid, I was very feminine, like a really feminine guy. So I got picked on every single day of my life. So for me to go after being molested, and it's like I'm solidifying my gayness, for everyone. And I can't, as a kid, handle that. So I understood that when he said that. Two, I have to give so many props to Monique for doing that, putting on her platform, because she is a little bit more relevant than he is today, for the people to be able to actually see it. And you can tell from his heart, like he was really speaking, coming from his heart, what he was talking about. Everything that he said, it was like you really felt him on that. And I love the fact that he said, it's not about everything else. It's really about, just exposing this, because again, this is something that you just don't do as a black man. You don't tell these kind of things. You don't tell family secrets. The other thing is that you could tell that he felt like he had everybody's life on his back, the group and the family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was saying. It's like, you don't, that's why I hate that question when people keep asking that. Why did you tell before? This is a kid feeling like he has everybody's life on his back, and one word can destroy everything. So yeah, he held it in for this time frame. but it gets to a point where you just can't hold it in anymore. You get to a space where, you know, God really starts to resonate in your life, and the relationship that you've been building because you've been going to church, it starts to resonate in your life. And he's in that space, like he's in his God pocket. That relationship is there. And so now he's able to freely say what he's been through, what he wants. He's not asking for a lot, honestly. He just wants this to be something that's acknowledged. And I feel like, you know, on this platform, on my platform, on any platform that I can be on, like, I just want to ride this train with him because I feel like it's so important. This stuff goes by so much. And even like having this conversation, when you look at the comment section, like you keep seeing people saying, oh, this happened to me. I never told anybody before in my life. This is what happened to me when I started telling people. Like, this happened to so many people. And if you actually start talking to guys that this happened to, it gets even worse because they've never told anyone. Like, it's been buried in their lives. They don't know how to talk about it because they're gonna feel like they're gay, or the people that they tell, they're gonna feel like they're gay, so they don't want to talk about it. And that's one of the worst things. I think, you know, for me, it worked out because I'm really gay, but you know, for me, like my gay feelings that I had were before I got molested. So I don't think that never defined my sexuality. But imagine actually being a heterosexual person and you're looking at what they look at as the worst thing possible. Like I feel like he's on a road that, you know, he doesn't really care if it can destroy anything else because he's already been through a lot. But now it's like, you know, I'm out for the souls of people because he said he's intact with God right now. So I love the interview. I love where he came from. Spiritually, I feel like he's in the right place.
Well said. Well said. I'm just going to wrap my arms around you and Bishop and Schoolboy and give y'all hugs because I'm feeling the pain. And I know this is a very, very touchy topic to discuss. And I applaud you for being so open and sharing with us. I love you.
My aunt is actually watching. She's like, is this too much for you?
I know it is. It's
I sent this video to everybody in text messages on my channel. I said, you need to come watch this.
So but I guess the main thing that I really want people to get from this, especially when someone comes and tells you that they've been through this as an adult and it's happened to them as a kid, is stop asking why it took so long to say something. Like, that's the most disrespectful thing. It's so insensitive because you don't know why this person took so long to tell something.
Because I think the first person I told was my sister. I didn't tell her who it was because I was like, I don't even want it to be known. And then the second person I told was my mother. And again, I'm not finna tell you who it is because you feel like you don't want to destroy anything that this person is doing, especially if you believe that, you know, if they're like my person that molested me was a older girl. And then so when this older girl would turn back around and make fun of me and do all this other stuff, and they used to call me gay, you know, believe it or not, that cousin. And I was like, man, that's messed up. Like, you're like, why not? So you gonna call me that, but next minute you want me, and the next minute you don't want me, and it's crazy. So it's like, okay, well, I don't even know what to do now at this point in time because now you're just sitting there, just destroying whatever, you know, evolving that I'm going to do as a young man growing into adulthood. So it's like it puts you in a weird position. So I knew what you were saying. So Debbie, when you said that.
And also, I just want to say, Monica, people need to realize the mind is a very complex thing. A lot of times your subconscious will hide things from you to protect you, especially as a kid. You push things away. You actually don't remember them. And that is why when another person comes forward or when something happens, a lot of times the person who was a victim is triggered. And it'll come up from nowhere. That's happened, you know, more times in the literature than you could think. It's a very normal thing for your brain to create ways for you to cope and deal and move through life. Because at the time, again, as a child, that's just a very hard thing to say. You don't want to get people in trouble. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. Again, I just want parents who are watching this to listen to your children, watch your children. If your child tells you something, don't automatically throw it back on them. I've had well-meaning caretakers in my life. I could say something as simple as, "Oh, my leg hurt. Did you let somebody do something to you?" It's like, and it's the language you use. Did I let somebody do something to me? No, my leg just hurt. It's very weird. I don't understand. Maybe because I'm not a parent yet, but I've seen it even just in my own family when kids come and say things. It could be totally not even sexually related, but it's like our minds go. I don't know if it's because we're in survival mode perpetually. I don't know, but just listen to your kids. Create open lines of communication where they can feel comfortable as much as possible to come and talk to you. And sometimes if you think something's going on and they won't talk to you, they have wonderful like kid therapists and counselors who use like play therapy and things like that to get kids to open up and say things that they might not normally tell a regular, their mom or their dad. It's just about creating safe spaces for our children as much as possible.
Absolutely. That's a good point, Plez. Sabine, thank you so much for the super chat. Monica, I have to say thank you to you and your panel. I came for the tea, but also found unapologetic discussions. Keep elevating all of you. Thank you, my love. Thank you. Yeah.
The reason why I said earlier, you have to be careful who you tell. Because when I was molested, I wasn't just molested by one person in my family. I was molested by multiple, people, but they told each other. So that's why I say, like, when people are saying, like, why don't you say anything? It's like because you probably did, but like now it's triggering some other things. And I want to make sure I clarify this so people understand that it came. That's why it happened to me more than one time. So you don't know who to tell.
You don't know who to tell, and you don't even know as a child what you're experiencing.
Right.
Because it may feel good, and don't take that the wrong way. Everybody's sexual abuse experience is not the same. As a child, you may take it as like not as serious because it feels good and you really don't understand what's going on. And then years later, you realize, well, I was being abused and I didn't even realize it.
Well, sometimes, and the pleasure is not even for you as the younger person, it's for them. So the feeling, you don't even know that. They get the feeling from it. And so they tell you certain things to make you continue to do it with them, but it's a secret. And you can't tell this because if you do, you're going to lose your family. Or, this is like they build a relationship with you where it's our private thing. Like they make you feel so special when really you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. That is definitely true.
Oh, goodness, y'all. The interracial perspective. Thank you so much for the super chat. Monica and panelists, we love you even more. Thank you so much for having this very needed discussion. There are still many who haven't told anyone. You don't know who to trust.
And Monica, what I wanted to say, if y'all recall him saying that he told his brother, and his brother was the first one that gave him drugs because he probably saying, look, you're going to mess up the money, just take this, it'll be okay. I believe him. It is so horrifying that people are messing with our children, and that's why our children, some of them are growing up so discombobulated because they don't know who to trust, so they act out. And like I said, we're not paying attention to our children sometimes because we want to keep this man and we want to keep these people in our lives because we need them for financial reasons. So I believe him, and it hurts me so bad because this is what I do. I do foster care. These kids come in and they don't know who to trust. And when they do finally sit at the dinner table and talk to you and tell you, you get thrown back because they're talking about their own biological father and not strangers. So it is just, it hurts me so bad because Monique knew what to ask him to soothe him, and he was so open, and you can see that he was being delivered by telling his story. He was being freed. And then he didn't stop there. He still wants to help the community because he knows this is going on. Like I said, men do not get this attention about this happening because they're afraid to be called gay or you faggot. You know, you liked it. And guess what? It's not that. It's just because you don't know who to trust. Our children need to know that they can trust their family. Everybody needs
Let me piggyback off of what you said real quick, Marcella. Imagine that the kid told the mother that, and she feels like she's trying to keep this man. But imagine putting the responsibility on the kid to help mom keep that man.
That was Precious, right? The movie Precious was based off of that. Oh, we saw that. Antoinette, thank you so much for the super chat. My dad's family stopped talking to me because I did say something. Yes, was years later, but it happened. So my father took his brother and sister's side. That happens a lot. You know, that happens. It happens a lot. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to mention too is, I mean, this is a very deep topic and it has so many legs to it. Abusers have no idea of the lifelong damage they do to a child, you know, as they mature into adulthood, and how that abuse affects a person's sexuality too. It shapes it, it molds it, and pretty much normal sexual development is cut short.
It is.
Oh my goodness.
You don't think? I don't think that's true. I think that some of them do know that because they've been through it.
Some of them who the abusers.
Yeah,
well, people hurt people, but they don't care. They don't care.
But
and
they
rationalize the behavior. They haven't processed themselves what has happened to them, so they just go out and repeat the behavior. And you know,
because you come very sexually regressed. Like with me, I don't want to tell nobody else's story, but what happened with me, it made me fall back. Like, I'm good on this, you know. And for like what So Damn Near saying, the pleasure is for them. What happened to me was strictly for that girl. Like I you know, for it took me for years. I mean, like days, and then for years, I kept smelling that smell in my hands. And I kept washing my hands. I'm like, I can't get this stain off my hand. And one day I had a conversation with my sister, and I said, "Do all girls will smell like that?" And I think I was like 15 or 16. And she was like, "No, that's not normal." And I said, well, when it happened, I said, when I got molested, I said, girl kept asking me, just go ahead and do it and whatever. You're supposed to enjoy this as a boy. And so when I told her that, she's like, no, that's not right. So it made sense to me when I kept talking to my sister about it, and she's like, no, that's not right. So then it took a burden off of me, because I'm thinking in my head, I'm stuck with these thoughts in my head, like it's supposed to be like this, supposed to be like that, just kind of lost on it. And she's like, no, she's like, let me talk to you. So we had like a real conversation, and she schooled me on it. It's not like I didn't know nothing about sex, but it was like it felt warped. You get like a warped perception of things, and it's like I should know better. I'm learning things to be better, but that's not my reality in my head.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say it can go either way. It really just depends on the person. Some people repress, but some people, it makes them hypersexual. Someone has said it. I saw it pop up on the chat. A lot of people have dismissed R. Kelly, thrown him away. We get that. But if you really watch the documentary, the family pathology was there. He was allegedly, by his own story, and even his brother's story, molested by what was thought to be his sister. And if you look at his then pattern of his own victims and who he victimized, it was almost like he was stuck with the image of a 15-year-old girl, which was the age that his sister was alleged to be when she molested him. And so he was constantly going back repeatedly over and over, victimizing what probably he was considering to be his sister and getting his revenge over and over again. And the people in his circle failed him. He went to his manager and other people and said, I cannot stop this. And no one from the history that we saw tried to get him help. He said, I can't stop. I don't know what's wrong. I keep videotaping things. I keep doing things. Those aren't excuses. That's literally what happened. Now, does that excuse what he did? No. Does it mean he doesn't need to be in jail? No.
No.
But we can't act like these things happen in a vacuum. We can't act like one person is abused and it doesn't create trauma and patterns for others. Some people do go get therapy, go get help, and they don't hurt other people. Some people, unfortunately, it sets them up to become a perpetrator themselves. And I would argue that that's likely what happened to even Chris Stokes and Raz B's brother and other people. Some people just have this deviance, but a lot of times someone experimented on them when they were little too. And they just are unfortunately passing that trauma down. And that's why we have to talk about it and stop it.
Yeah, they don't get the help. But a child's sexuality is developed based on the abuse, is what I'm saying. It is. They learn how they feel about sexual desires, that, you know, it's scary, it's in an inappropriate way. So based on that is how they view sex. And if they don't get help, like you said, Plez, then they turn out to be predators themselves, or, you know, overtly sexual, or, you know, they oppress their sexuality. So yeah, it definitely has an impact on how they view their sexuality and how, you know, how that manifests itself. Just like Common came out and said he was abused, but he got the help.
Yeah.
I think something good that you guys said, that the parents that are watching this need to hear. Bishop and Plez actually said something about this. When a kid always says something stinks, and it's like a certain type of smell, that's kind of a red flag for me, because I can relate to that. Like, smells, it was from, you know, those interactions, and it sent to me. Like, I can get to a man's car, and it automatically was like, something stinks. It don't really stink. It's just a smell. The person did it to me. So as parents who are watching this, like, look out for that, because that was something that stood out for me all the time. It was like, something stinks, and they're like, nothing stinks. But it was just the fact that the person who did that to me, or the people who did that to me, they smelled like that.
Yeah, I became OCD about it. Like, I used to color coordinate all my clothes, socks, everything. Like, everything was to a T. When I turned something a certain way, it was a control thing after a while, because I became controlling at that point in time. Like, no, my life is patterned like this. You can't tell me this, that, and third. And it had to break. I think it broke like around like 19 or 20. I was like, this is too much. I can't do this. It's crazy. And that's when I actually finally told my sister. I'm like, not finally told my sister, but finally told my mom. Because I told my sister and then I told my mom. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is lunacy. It's all in your head, where it's like a you know, like you think about a circus with like the house of mirrors. It's like so much stuff, and it's wacky, and you feel like you're really distorted. And it's like a mind conundrum.
Marcella, let me just acknowledge this real quick, and then you can say, Ron Allen, thank you so much for the super chat. I chose not to tell after witnessing my mother's betrayal of my sister.
Wow.
Who can you turn to, right? Marcella, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
That's okay. What we're starting to notice now, that predators are going for children to take their innocence. Once they pass them around, then they get them a younger child. And what I was majorly concerned about when those Mexican children came into the United States and they separated those children, it concerned me that they would separate them from their children, and we don't know where some of them are today. But I'm telling you that now predators, since the last the 2000s, they're starting to mess with kids more and more and more. And guess what? And the people don't believe the children. The children don't want to take baths. They don't want to, the girls don't want to take care of their personal hygiene because they figure if they stay stinky, nobody would want to touch them. It's just, we see a lot of that now. And so I believe this young man, and it bothers me to the core, y'all, because I see this in real life.
Yeah. Are you okay, Schoolboy? I know you have to take a few minutes there because it's a very heavy topic. Okay. All right. So
y'all remember, can I say this? Y'all remember that show, My 600-Pound Life?
Yeah.
You know, when they always tell the story why that is because of childhood trauma of abuse, and then most of them say they was sexually molested. That always stood out to me because people they always say, people like, why don't you lose weight? Why don't you lose weight? They're like, well, I put this weight on so nobody would want me. And I was like, dang, that's deep.
It's a shield.
Yeah, it's just another subconscious way the brain works. You decide that no, you're not gonna. You literally go in survival mode. You need a safe space. It manifests in many different ways. Some kids, as we already said, quit talking, or they have nightmares, or they get really scared if you like mention someone's name or say, "Oh, let's go to this person's house." Anytime a kid is like adamant that they don't want to go to somebody's house, you need to pay attention. Or they don't want to hug somebody. They don't want to go around them. Kids know a lot. And sometimes that's their way of telling you what they can't really open their mouth and form the words to say. They start overeating because they, like you said, they don't want to be, not even that they don't want anybody to want them. They don't want to be seen. It's like you want to be invisible, and you just want to, you don't want any attention on you. You just want to make yourself as undesirable and unnoticeable as possible. So
someone just posted, why do men always re-victimize and women don't? That's not true. Actually, what happens is, let's say that, I was molested by a woman and I told my father or whatever. That's another Black family thing. It's like, oh, are you a man now? Yeah. So, I mean, I hope that we're going to be educating people on this tonight, because there's a lot of questions that I really hate when it comes to this. Women do the same thing a lot.
Yes.
It's never just reported, because as a father, they're like, you a man now. Like that's like a stamp of approval for your dad.
It's just like last year when Boosie admitted that he went out and got prostitutes or strippers or whatever to make his 13-year-old, 12 and 13-year-old sons and nephews men. And people were acting, not everybody, of course, but some people were acting like this was normal and or okay. And he used it specifically in an agenda matter against Dwayne Wade and how he supports his child's identification. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's the pathology that we have to work through. And as you said, when it comes out about these high school teachers, you can just see it in the comments and the stuff. People are joking. I wish I had a teacher like that. You went and told on her. You messing it up for everybody. I would have loved to have a teacher like that. That's not funny. It's not cool. It's still abuse.
It is. It is. So recently, Raz B challenged Chris Stokes to sit down for a polygraph. He says he's game. He's not. Chris is ready to game, but Raz B is game. He's ready to go. He wants to sit down for the polygraph. And Chris Stokes has ignored the challenge. Of course, he's not answering it, right? I mean, it's pretty much a consensus. We like to say allegedly for legal reasons, and we should, but the general consensus is something happened to Raz B.
Let me say this.
Let me just say this real quick. Even his cast members, that's okay. Even his cast members have not directly, but indirectly supported him and backed up what he's saying, but they're not directly doing it. It's always with the little emojis and the little, subliminal comments in various blog pages, right? The stories of men and women and minors being molested in the industry has been a hidden secret for years. It's nothing new. You know, industry execs, musicians, and CEOs use their influence, money to intimidate. We know this. Pedophilia and sexual abuse is rampant in that industry and within society. I just don't want to say the music industry. It's Hollywood. It's the soccer field. It's your child's soccer field. It's your child's, basketball coach. It's your babysitters. It's everywhere in
It's your
society.
family members.
It's church.
Victims like Raz B, though, in the industry specifically, they need to all speak up. Anyone out there that is going through this or has gone through this and stayed quiet for years, speak up, say something, call the liars out, and stop being forced into silence and crippled by fear.
Because a lot of Black people just don't want to go through therapy. You have to talk it out. That's why they're throwing our Black kids on medication. Everything don't need to be medicated. If you sit down and listen to our Black children, Black people, I don't care. You need to go through therapy. That will help you. You don't have to be medicated because they're trying to keep you medicated and the medication suppress what you're going through. And you don't want to keep it suppressed. You want to be able to talk to it. And if you got to get a therapist, stop being ashamed. It's our Black community that don't want to go get help. And that's so terrible. We have to.
We're definitely urging you. We're urging all the victims out there to come forward, speak up, tell someone that, go to the authorities. That's the best place because you really can't trust anyone. And that includes your own family.
Or your church pastor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go to an actual therapist.
Right.
Or report it to the police. Do not go to your church pastor or your family.
No.
I'm glad you said that.
I am too.
Because they told us in our jurisdiction, the head mother in charge, she's next to the bishop. She said, I will call you, Bishop, if I'm on the way to the police station. And that was consensus of all of us. And they make us get background checks for being a minister or missionary or elder or deacon or deaconess, because they want people to know what's going on. Call the authorities. That's the first thing they tell you. Call the authorities on your way while you're calling your bishop or your pastor and say, I'm going to authorities because such did something. Because we don't want this problem on the church anymore. And folks, y'all need to wake up. Like, just go to authorities. I'm sorry. If it's going to make your family be mad at you, let them be mad. Because it's better for your sanity to be good than you trying to worry about other people's sanity and not making the family look bad. Because we're all about looks and show about, oh, we don't want to look like this. We don't want the white people to see us in a certain light. No, forget them. I'm not thinking about none of y'all. Thinking about myself.
Right. And there's no statute of limitations on the R word. It's not. No statute of limitations.
Well,
go to the police.
In some places that it's not even a law for a man to molest or the R word another man.
I think it's called sodomy.
Yeah. But you can't. But they can't pull up charges on it because it's not a law in that.
In the United States or other countries?
In the United States.
I thought it was sodomy, at least in California, I thought it was sodomy.
Well, the Bible says it's sodomy, but
they have some terms. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So here's the thing that we just don't want to say that there's no statute limit. Every state is different, so that would be the advice. Check with, if you would like to form a criminal complaint, just check with the prosecutors and the people in your area, because all states are different. There's no federal blanket that applies to sexual assault and sexual offenses throughout the country. But even if, let's say, you can't necessarily prosecute the person or put them in jail, the awareness is still there, because this stuff usually does not occur in a vacuum. It's very rare that a perpetrator victimizes only one child. You know, we can look back at so many stories from the Catholic priests to different basketball and football coaches who have been victimizing children, you know, child after child, year after year, going back to, you know, the 80s, the 90s, different basketball camps, band camps, again, places where parents think this is somebody that they trust with their child, and that there are chaperones, and that their child is safe, and the coach is sneaking in the you know, the bunk that the kids are in at night and threatening them, or coercing them, especially, you know, smarter perpetrators pick people who have a lot to lose, or ones who they can overly ingratiate and say, you know, I help your mom, and I get you all's groceries, and I got you into this private school. And again, the kids, sometimes it's not even what the parent is doing. Kids themselves aren't dumb, and they feel a lot of responsibility to their family, to their
Mm-hmm.
mother. They know if they were just like in a homeless shelter or something, and because of their talent, they're now doing better. They know that if they tell, or they feel that if they tell, all of that will go away. And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's not even the person, it's a lot of reasons why a child will keep things in. But if that happened to you as a child, don't be afraid to speak up, because
Yeah.
that has likely still been
Yeah.
happening to other children, and we can stop the chain.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I will also add to that, victims, if you're listening and you're out there, please call 211 for free federal community resources for counseling and help. There is free help out there. You don't need insurance to get therapy. Just dial 211. And I also want to add to, as a community, and this is black, white, orange, or green, can we please stop labeling hypersexual females or males as sluts and all this other stuff? Because a lot of times they're behaving like that because they were
Mm-hmm.
sexually abused.
Oh, yes.
And the only way they feel self-worth is through, you know, sleeping with multiple people. And because that's what they've been sexually degraded. So, you know, a lot of times that's the only way they identify love is through, you know, sexual contact or being in a relationship and all that other stuff. We got to love each other. We got to love on each other. It's not, the behavior is not healthy because it does spread diseases and that kind of stuff. But maybe instead of attacking and labeling and gossiping, go talk to that person. Find out maybe why they're behaving that way. See if they need help or what's going on in their life. Selena T, thank you so much for the super chat. Sadly, in the Black community, we victim shame and lack empathy when it comes to childhood trauma. Then some make fun of those who seek therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They call you
And
crazy
they
and
keep
stuff like
telling
that.
us don't snitch, don't snitch, don't snitch. You know, everybody is saying don't snitch now. We need to start telling. We need to bring awareness. Tell your children not snitching.
Schoolboy, do you have anything to add, honey? Because I know you've been really quiet.
If somebody tell you don't get therapy, F them. Get therapy. Stop caring about what people think. You have to tell the truth. You have to say what's going on, because you can't get to the next level if you still allowing that person to have that power. Because that's what it is. They have dominion and they have power over you. And so until you are able to get that point to go to therapy, you really need to do it. Don't care what your mama say, your family say, what they gotta say. Go to therapy. Ain't nothing wrong with therapy. Nothing. We always say that, oh, well, that's therapy for white people. Therapy ain't just for white people. It's for black people, orange people, green people, gay, straight, bisexual. You know, everybody needs therapy. Therapy is not a bad thing. Sometimes it ain't even because you're going for something traumatic. It might be something that you need to talk out about your relationship. It might be something you need to talk about out with about your family, your mom, your dad. Those things are learning tools. It's for growth, and it's so that we can take our story and touch somebody else and help them.
Yeah.
Help each other, love each other. And if y'all haven't noticed, life is a little bit too short right about now.
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh,
better learn to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah. And there's power in your silence, right? Don't let the predator silence you because they still have that control over you. Fight back, speak out.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hard. It can't be easy. Nothing in life is easy that's worth something. Lois Lane. Hold on one second. Lois Lane, love. Thank you for the super chat. It's something I need to tell out to. I ask God who to trust. If I say this, especially when everyone has isolated themselves from me, and yet they have my kids and won't give them back, and the courts are not believing me. Sounds like you need to talk to a therapist, Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. It sounds like a very deep problem, and there's some issues going on. And I think therapy is needed, seriously, and a good lawyer. Yeah.
I just wanted to piggyback off of Marcella and Schoolboy. 3 words: tell on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Tell on everybody. And I mean, if you're a kid, you have to do what you got to do, or find a safe space for you to do it. And I'm just telling everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, tell.
Yeah, you have to.
Take back control. Take back
Because
control of your life.
it will destroy your relationships. People don't believe that. That stuff destroy your future relationships. It gives you hard to trust folks.
Mhm.
I remember I started to say I had trust issues. I had trust issues. My do not trust list is longer than Santa Claus list. And I'm thinking that's cool to say because you're not supposed to trust anybody right off the bat. But it was putting up a wall. And I remember one of my life coaches was saying, you need to quit saying that because you're saying the key word trust issues. It's issues behind your trusting. And I was like, well, dang, I didn't even really think about that.
Right.
And the person that I loved, I'm thinking I'm showing her all the love I'm giving. I'm you're gonna be my wife and all this other good stuff. And I was holding back. It was something in me was holding back. It was other issues going on in that relationship as well. But that was like the main focal point in my life. I'm like, dang, I am holding back. And I kind of like close grip and everything else. And when you start opening up and it disappoints you, you shut right back down.
Yeah.
So I began to shut down and start veering another way again, getting off the course of life because I'm starting to build these trust issues again. It's getting worse. I'm like, the person that I love gonna do this to me. You know what I mean? So you really need to get therapy for that because then it stems right back to that situation. So it's
also
crazy.
to the cheating and relationships. A lot of times, you're in relationships with people and you're constantly cheating and you don't even know why. You don't know why.
And abusing them.
All unaddressed pain that you're harboring from some situation that happened, whether it be sexual abuse or domestic abuse or something in your past, childhood abuse too.
Sometimes you don't know why people walking around angry all the time,
Mm-hmm.
or they mad all the time, or they always cussing out people, or they always lashing out. It's because they're in pain. They screaming, but nobody's paying attention. It's a pain. So instead of it's the mentality. I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me. You can't live like that. That's not a good way to live or to function because you will always be by yourself because people don't know how to take you because you're just too erratic. We have to learn how to deal with our issues and talk them out. Like Marcella said earlier, medication ain't the way. Okay, I suffer from anxiety and depression. I don't medicate. I don't take medication. You know why? Because I really feel like medication don't do nothing but make you more crazier. So what I do is I meditate, I work out, I go take a long walk. I do anything to keep my mind busy. If it's even getting adult coloring books and just coloring for hours or journaling.
Yeah.
Keep your mind busy because what my grandma used to say, idle mind is the devil's workshop. So you have to keep your mind busy, but you don't allow things to take over your spirit. Watch what you look at on TV. Watch what you intake in your subconscious mind. Those things will mess with you too. We gotta take better care of ourselves mentally and emotionally and what we eat because that all helps us in healing. It's all a part of the process.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to jump in and say, because I saw a bunch of comments coming up talking about therapy. Look, y'all, none of this is easy, and it's never going to be one size fits all. So if you are fortunate, you are gainfully employed with some good insurance, don't just hop on the first therapist you see. You can go, there's a website called Psychology Today. You can type in the types of therapists you're looking for. If you need somebody who look like you can filter it by female, by male, by black, by, what the person's race is. You can look up different modalities and what they choose to focus their therapy on. Is it cognitive behavioral? Is it a different approach? When I started my therapy in 2018, I'm like Schoolboy and everybody else has said, medicine wasn't an option for me, at least not initially. Now, if we got down the path and we realized that depression or anxiety or anything that I was diagnosed with couldn't be controlled by different therapeutic, psychotherapeutic measures, then maybe eventually I may have been open to medicine. Thank God I have not had to take any medicine, but be clear, if you need the medicine, that's okay too. I have family members that take Xanax. What I don't like is that for my personal reasons, some of those medications can become habit forming, and I did not want to introduce something like that into my life. So go through it under a therapist. Just like any other doctor, you can do consultations. And if the vibe isn't right, if you don't feel like this is a good conversation initially, move on to somebody else. I created a list of like top 5 people. I looked at their websites if they had them. I looked up, I Googled them and saw if they were on social media to see what their personal life was like. If they, because I didn't have to pick a black woman.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I actually, my first therapist was a white woman, because where I live is a very small place, and the black professional community is a very small place. And I didn't necessarily trust that I was going to be telling this black woman all my business, and she wasn't going to be going back on the slick, telling it to other people. Not that all people are like that, but that's just something that I thought about. So the white lady who said she was very diverse and inclusive and culturally sensitive, I wanted to go to her Facebook to see, was she a secret, 45 supporter? I'm sorry. Like, that matters to me. So I'm saying all of this to say, do the research. It's not just going to be one size fits all, but it can work. You just have to find the right person for you.
And take step 2. You may, like Plus said, you may go through several therapists, but get your feet wet. Go out there, and even if you get one that because to me, the therapist I've ever been to, I sit there and I'm telling them all my problems, and I'm like, but all they say is yes, okay, and I'm like, you know what? I can solve my own damn problem, and I kind of did just by talking to this person, and they just sitting there with a pen and pad saying, absolutely. Well, how did that make you feel? And after a while, you keep doing those sessions, you'll be like, okay, it's starting to click now. I do this because this happened.
To your point, Monica, I kind of fired somebody because I was like, ain't I supposed to be getting some homework? You ain't got no worksheets for me to do. You got a book recommendation for me? Right. Please believe part of it is venting, because I am a person who, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of my weight, I've been overweight since I was 6. It was mainly triggered by childhood trauma. I ate my feelings. I did not know how to talk about what was going on with me, the issues that I had with my mom and my dad and my whole family, whoever. Because in the South, the way we're raised, you don't talk back as a child. You don't get up in your elder's face. You don't deal with certain things. So I just stuffed my feelings. I became a people pleaser, all this crap. But anyway, so just the act of the vomit of getting all of that crap out of you will do so much for you. But yes, once you get past that, in order to actually grow and heal, you will need other activities. And so if you get to that point and somebody's just like, yes, you, again, that's why you want to know what type of therapy they practice and what works for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Facts.
And I had to get a therapist that was very strong.
Hang on one second.
I had to get it.
I just want to acknowledge these super chats, otherwise they disappear, and I want to acknowledge them. Lois Lane Love, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm going through something that the courts won't help me because of my criminal record, and my reason of jail is fighting back those I trusted, and so went to jail. Well, I hope that works out for you, and you can find a good criminal attorney and you can fight them. I'm sorry you're going through that. Naisha, thank you so much for the super chat. Create a safety plan for yourself. Safety looks different for each individual. Absolutely. Seek advice from your PCP. I'm a new fan. Well, welcome, Tika. Yeah, good points. Sierra, thank you so much for the super chat. Black people, please know if you have a chemical imbalance, medicine is okay. Good point. Good point. I struggled for years because I was told I was crazy if I took it. I'm better now. Some people really do need it. And it does work, you know what I'm saying? But I think to Pleza's point and the panel's point, we don't want people to be crippled into a life of dependency. And that happens sometimes when you necessarily are borderline where you could take it, but you don't necessarily have to. But again, seek the advice of your medical profession. If you truly have a chemical imbalance and you need it to function properly in this society, take your meds. Absolutely.
But the real message that Big Mama and them was not a doctor. So go to the doctors and let them just prescribe you what you need to have done.
Yes. Say it again for the people in the back.
Yeah, my friend who deals with therapy and stuff, she says finding the person who's going to do your therapy is always like dating someone. You want to find out if you guys are going to work out together, because you cannot go to someone who doesn't know what you've been through to give you advice, because they don't know. So they could have gone through years of school, but they don't understand anything you've gone through, so they can't give you advice on it. They can't walk you through it or help you guide yourself through it at all. So it's not like you go to one and like this is the perfect thing. You have to kind of vet them and find out who's going to be good for you.
Yeah. But again, guys, if you need your meds and it was prescribed, and also too, if you are taking meds and they were prescribed and you start to feel better, don't feel like you don't need them anymore.
Right.
Sometimes it happens too, and you fall back into an episode, and it can be a downward scroll to get back.
Doctor take you off.
Yes.
Wean yourself. Yes.
Don't do that cold turkey, because you will tear yourself up doing that. I don't recommend nobody doing that. Just please listen to the doctors, do that. And for me, all I did was I got tired one day and I woke up and I said, God, look, I'm tired of living this way. Show me who I need to talk to. And I went to actually a women's empowerment event and met my life coach.
And I'm grateful for it, because I just love you. I think you are so intelligent, so beautiful. You're a beautiful person inside and out. Okay. I've gotten to know you. I mean, we communicate through DMs, but I just love your spirit, Schoolboy. You are so intelligent and you have so much to offer this world. So thank you for getting the help you need, because the product we see today is just beautiful.
Ooh, yes, Lord. That therapy was needed. But I don't regret it. I try to tell people all the time, like, therapy is not bad. Y'all need to stop.
It's not.
Sometimes Big Mama and them be wrong. You need to, Big Mama and them be wrong. They could be wrong. It's okay.
Absolutely. Anaya, thank you so much for the super chat. I rehearse with my child to have her yell, "Don't touch me there." Perps often pick kids that won't talk. Teach your kids that you are a safe space. Absolutely. Communicate with your children. Let them know what's right and what's wrong. I mean, any kind of touching of your physical body is inappropriate. Even on the head. Don't tap me on the head. Don't touch my hair. In the back, And I'm quick to call up to that school and cuss somebody out.
My daughter is sitting here listening to this, and I'm going to tell you what I used to tell her. If somebody touch your pocketbook, let me know. And one day I went to the daycare and she said, Mommy, they touched my pocketbook. They was teaching her how to wipe herself. But I
Oh.
was talking to the teacher, and as soon as I heard that word pocketbook, I just dropped my bag and was ready to fight. Who touched my daughter? Who touched my
Yeah.
daughter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Went off
Mhm.
because I just know that I had nasty uncles and everybody, and it was nasty, and I wanted to make sure my children were never affected by that.
Nowadays, too, if your child is being, I guess, quote unquote, bullied, there's like serious protocol. My daughter came home and she was telling me this for a while, but I don't like to jump on every single thing really fast, and I would ask a lot of questions because it was verbal bullying. This guy was just being a little creep, this third grader. It's like, dude, what is your problem? Leave my child alone. So after several incidents, I finally reached out to the school and they sent home all this paperwork. It was like a stack to fill out, a bully complaint. These schools are not playing nowadays. Say your child's being bullied, they will do something about it. That was a good comment. WC says, yes, talk therapy works and look for natural remedy treatments before pharmaceuticals. Then they can be very addictive, and doctors can be too quick to prescribe them. Be aware of that too. Be on the lookout for that. Should we touch on Marcus Houston when he was 39 marrying the 19-year-old? Should we touch on it? Do y'all even care? Okay, so this August that just passed, Marcus Houston married this 19-year-old girl. Let me pull up this photo so y'all can see what she looked like. Okay, that's the wedding photo. He shared photos of this on his Instagram. The pair, they got married in an ultra private ceremony in California. He put a statement out to people. He says, I was so nervous that I was actually shaking, but everything felt perfect when I saw Maya walk down the aisle. I told her I wasn't going to cry, but I couldn't hold it in. I cried like a baby. You married a baby. What do you expect? That's kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy. Sorry, not feeling it. I mean, she's legal, but it's creepy. And then we hear that he's been accused of sexual assault. Let's take some calls, y'all. Hi, Leah. Thank you for being so patient.
We like your ceiling fan.
Yeah.
I think she went to the bathroom.
Oh.
She's been waiting a while. Hi.
Leah was like, oh, well.
Hi, Lucky Love.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, my God. I love you guys, by the way. I have to watch you guys every night now. I don't know where I've been. I must have been under a rock somewhere, but I'm glad I found you.
Thank you.
But I wanted to actually comment a couple of things. So Moniece, I have to give her kudos and plenty of accolades because I think she was one grown and she apologized for her part in whatever shenanigans she took part in. And then also one thing I'm noticing a lot about when we talk about these heavy conversations is that people are asking like, why did it take the victim so long to come out or what to tell their story? And one, it's important that we have empathy towards other people. It's important that we respect people's process. It's important that we are encouraging others to be able to, come out and create that culture. If we don't create that culture, how the heck are they supposed to feel comfortable enough to be able to come out and tell their story instead of being like, oh, why did it take you so long to do X, Y, and Z? And then I just think as far as the Black community, I'm Somali, and so our culture is a little bit different. So I am learning a lot about the Black community and how similar that they are as far as even hush hush when it comes to like assaults and don't shame the family or keep that creepy uncle away from so and so. And at some point, like I have a daughter. I'm sorry. I'm looking at everybody sideways. You are not to look, you are not to touch, you are not to say nothing to my child. She can't talk yet, so like you have to be very particular about who you leave your child with. And definitely you guys mentioned on like touching on like cues and picking up on your child's changes and things like that. And I'm constantly looking, and as a former social worker, I'm super vigilant about my child because I refuse to have anything happen that could be traumatic and that can last a lifetime when I can prevent it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then lastly, like as far as Marcus Houston is concerned, if there's a 10-year like age gap, what do you guys talk about? Like it's just weird. What conversations do you
20 year, yeah. Well, yeah, 10 year.
10 years or
20
more?
years, actually, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know what I can talk to, like what we can talk about. Like,
Makes no sense. But can we address this really fast? That young lady is missing. There was a missing report put out on her, and she has a whole missing profile. Yeah.
Who?
That
Since
young
she was
lady
16
married.
years old, she's been missing.
Wow.
And now she comes out in a wedding picture.
And she's light skinned because I thought she was browner when they initially showed the pictures. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I thought it was somebody else.
That's crazy.
Shame.
It just gets creepier and creepier with these people. And I don't want to throw Jehovah's Witnesses under the bus because there are many, many, many good ones out there. But the fact that he converted right around the time he got married, I don't know. I don't know. No offense to any Jehovah's Witnesses out there, because I know a few that are very, very good people and are truly in the word and beautiful people, you know, nice Kingdom Hall and everything.
But is that some Chris Stokes stuff? Because then Raz B said that he was a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, he's a Jehovah's Witness as well. I don't know what's going on, child. I really don't.
If you don't abide by the rules, they'll put you out.
Well, yeah.
I actually ended up going with one of my friends to the Kingdom Hall, and they are very particular about how they do things.
Yeah. If you're not a witness, you can't get up there on the stage and act out the scenes and all that stuff because you're probably sinning and you can't be presenting a message. You know, you read from the what's the booklet called?
I forgot.
I forgot. The Watchtower. The Watchtower. They still distribute that every week. Oh, they do. Okay. Because I know they sold that big building in Brooklyn. You know that used to cross the Brooklyn Bridge and it would say the Watchtower. They sold that a few years ago for quite a hefty amount.
Ooh.
They moved them all upstate New York. That place, because I used to work with a coworker who was she was Jehovah's Witness, and she used to be in the life, right? She had left the religion, and then she was in the life for a while, doing what she does, and then she went back to it. But she went back to it so much so that you have to apply to live there. The Watchtower, that big building, she applied, they accepted her, and she married a man in there, and she had to quit her job. You have to work for them when you get accepted to that. Yeah. Sierra, thank you so much for the super chat. His wife was introduced to him by Chris Stokes. He lied and said she was his daughter, but on her IG, she calls him her best friend. See, it is.
Oh my God, it's getting worse.
It's getting very, very, very odd. Hi, Leah. Are you
there?
Hey, Leah.
I was like, my dog took off, and I was like, and I heard hi, Leah, and I was like, ooh. But thank you for clicking me back. Good evening. Happy Monday, everybody. Everybody. I think it should not only be all about the tea with Monica. It's Monica all about the tea. I'm sorry, all about the survivors. You know what I mean? Like we rock. I've called in a few times and just talked about my story as a survivor, and it's one of those things where it's like cool to know that you're not the only one, and then it's also like, damn, this shit is still happening. You know what I mean? My profession, I'm an educational diagnostician, so I work with kids who have learning disabilities from autism to traumatic brain injury, orthopedic impairment, and mainly like other health impairment and emotional disturbance. You would be surprised how many times we interview the family or the foster parent or the guardian, and hear about trauma at such a young age, and it's unfortunate, but it's a very common ordeal that then trickles down into their academics, their behavior, and their social skills. It's real, and I love this panel making us all feel safe. Monica, thank you, making us all feel safe, and so everyone who's felt free enough to chime in and share their story, because this is what survival looks like. This is what a journey of life in different chapters in your life looks like. So yeah, the tears are still there. That's what God gave us tear ducts for, is to cry, right? Or to produce tears, to cry. And it's a beautiful thing to be in touch with your emotions, Schoolboy, and all of us who have teared up listening to everybody's story. I also just think that, hearing you're not alone makes you feel so much stronger. Knowing you're not back then makes you feel so much stronger. Having discussions like this will definitely move us in a direction of, and again, 2020 and 2021 is so evident by pulling back the rug on a lot of things that people are sweeping under the rug, or people are suppressing, or people are saying, oh, they'll handle it, that age group will get it right, or whatever. And it's just refreshing to hear these conversations again in a safe place of no judgment, and knowing that therapy is healthy. It's crucial. Your body wears down daily. We are depreciating as a machine, as our body is a machine. And if you think your sneezing and coughing or allergies is something that you would go to a doctor for, or any other medical, physical incident, you would also need your mind strong, because if my mind is not right, how are my other body parts going to work? So getting your mind right through a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, because those are all different, life coach, however you want to do it. And if you trust your pastor, let's not put all shepherds on that chopping block, but we still have to keep it real. But if you trust your pastor or your deaconess or first lady, whoever, tell them, don't hold yourself back from being free. Don't slow down your freedom process. Don't slow down your maturation in social and in relationships, and you'll just feel so much better. Like, who cares what people say? Sorry. Yes, I'm long-winded. Love you.
I love you too. And kudos to you for being on the front lines, right? What you do in your job is so beneficial to the community and helping children. So kudos to you. I just want to address this comment real quick. Because that way I can keep the comments flowing. Donna, just for clarification, maybe I wasn't very clear. I said, if you go and you apply to be a part of the watchtowers of Jehovah's Witness, you have to work for them. But normal, everyday Jehovah's Witnesses work in society. And that's how I met my friend. We worked at a big corporation together. So just for clarification, if anyone's saying, Jehovah's Witnesses don't work regular, they do. They do. They do. Okay.
And, to build on what Leah says, we're survivors, but we also want to be thrivers, because I don't want our people to be stuck in survival mode. We've been in that mode for too long. We need to start thriving as a people and thriving in our relationships, our in personal development, in business. We want to thrive in every area. So that way, when we're like, oh, I'm just surviving. Oh, I'm just doing all right. No, I want you to do much better. But I just wanted to build on what you were saying, though.
And to piggyback, your excellent point. How about the fact that some people like pain? Some people are martyrs. Some people are stuck and don't know how to get out of that normal feeling of pain, or those trigger things like the smells y'all were talking about. Oh my gosh, or sounds or mute, whatever that thing is that takes you back to that time. Right on. But learn how to deal with life differently, and also learn that you don't have to wake up with this on your with the assault on your mind, or whatever caused that shift in your mind. Just wait. Just know you can have a Monday where it's nothing but a Monday. So don't stay in the pain, don't stay in the hurt, the fear, the shame.
Yeah, and Leah, I just wanted to clear. I think what we were mostly saying about going to your pastor, absolutely. If you trust your pastor and that's who you want to tell your story to, absolutely. The issue is that in the Black community, a lot of churches, for whatever reason, look down on therapy. You know, when you go to a lot of Black elders, they just tell you to pray, baby, pray. So that's all we're saying. Prayer is great. I love Jesus. Jesus loves me.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Jesus also gave us people here on earth who can help us and give us concrete skills to get through this and to heal. He is a healer. He is a mind regulator. All of the things that we learn in the church. However, sometimes you need a little help getting your mind regulated, and that is where therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, school counselors, regular counselors, professional counselors, that's where they come in.
And the word says we are helpers one to another.
And
I
he
quote
gave
that
us
every time on my channel.
Yeah, free will too, because God can't provide the meds. He can't. He's not a pharmacist. But if you pray, he will help you, give you that spiritual strength to go see that therapist.
Hallelujah.
Seek the help you need. I believe in spiritual therapy as well, Leah. That's a great, great point. You want to stick around with us?
I'm so proud.
Of course. Who would say no?
Yay!
No one bashed the Jehovah Witnesses on this panel. No one bashed the Jehovah Witnesses. You know, we all have different religions, and Jehovah Witnesses are studiers. So, all our Bibles say the same. So, for you reaching out to say that we're bashing the Jehovah Witnesses,
absolutely not.
Monica was very praising the co-workers that she met. We're not saying don't be a Jehovah Witness. We're saying whatever you believe in, go to your source. And Jehovah Witness have the same Bible as the King James Version. And please don't think that about this panel. We love God. Jehovah God is what's in King James and every other Bible. So
That's what
please
they call
don't think.
Yeah. And listen, I'll tell you something. That Jehovah Witness friend of mine was one of the best friends I've had to date, and I miss her so.
Nicest people.
She, first of all, like you said, they're studiers, right? So any kind of question I had about the Bible, I would ask her because she knew it from front to back, from back to front. And a lot of religions don't require you to know the Bible from front to back before you get baptized. They do.
And that's what I call slave religion. When I say the religion of being Black, I always talk about it with this whole stuff where we sweep stuff under the rug. That's part of religion of being Black. Not studying to show y'all, studies to show y'all self-approved. That's self-approved. That's a religion of being Black. It's things that we need to break the cycle of. There's nothing wrong with being Black, but sometimes we've been taught so many things that's so wrong, and you be looking at other groups of people like they not stuck on crazy. Like, what the world's wrong with us? But we've been taught for so long on a plantation to trust, Pastor so-and-so, and Pastor so-and-so don't even know most of the scriptures in the Bible because he been told to read certain things. But when you get a religious leader who tell you, keep your Bible open so you can follow along with me so I do not veer you off somewhere else, that's a person you would trust. Because they telling you to know it for yourself. My daddy is a pastor. He told you know the Bible for yourself, son, so nobody can't trick you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
My husband is a Jehovah Witness, and I am a Christian. My husband is Jehovah Witness, and we read the Bible. I read the New Version, and my husband read his Jehovah Witness Bible, and it says the same thing. It's just written in a different way, but it has the same definition at the end.
And I like their songbook. They have a very good songbook. Okay, they really do. I'm gonna add Queen Cascade. Hey, all the way from the UK.
Hey.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody in the chat.
Good morning.
Good morning. Technically
morning.
it's morning here.
Good day.
I just wanted to bounce off what is it, Leah? Beautiful sister over there was saying.
Leah, that girl.
A lot of people forget that if I use another analogy, that our brains are essentially like computers. So when we as children, our hard drives are clear, our memory banks, there's nothing on there. As we're growing up, we're building our foundational blocks. And when abuse happens, it interrupts those things. It messes with those things. It messes with children's brains. That's why a lot of the time children later on will come out with their stories about abuse. A lot of people, block things. It's a survival technique of the brain to sometimes shut it down or block it so that you can carry on. Now, part of when I was a teenager, from about the age of 13, I worked with what you guys call CPS, which is social services. And the government was working on projects around, abuse and sexual health and things like that. That's how I started in the era that led me to where I am now. Anyway, one of the projects, they basically put this educational video together, and we were test driving it in schools as a part of this project, because we wanted to know how to move forward. Now, the educational video was a basic video about washing, hygiene, cleanliness, how to look after yourself. And it had another part to do with abuse, which stated, if somebody touches you like this, if somebody touches you like that, that's inappropriate. So there was other elements to it. But what I'm trying to get to is after we showed that in primary school, when we got the reports and everything back after doing the sessions, because it was like a 2-man team, female and a male, going into the sessions with these school children, what we learned was there was actually a whole heap of children that were being abused. From seeing that video, children had come forward and said, my uncle does that to me, my cousin does that to me. Do you get what I'm saying? We tried to push it forward in terms of pushing it through government, but obviously there's political pressures and people have their own, what they're trying to do. So I want to say, just kind of bounce off what Marcella was saying about, I myself have code words with my daughter for different things. Yeah, when she's in school, different things are happening. She's not able to talk about different things. We've got codes for certain things. So if she's in a position where she doesn't feel safe, she can use that code or text that code. The other thing I'd like to say is, parents, we need to stop this. I'm gonna go to jail if anybody touches you, or if anybody touches my child, I'm going to jail. I know that's how we feel, but sometimes our children pick that up and they're getting abused and they feel responsibility, and they're like, if I tell, my parent's going to go to prison, I'm not going to have my mom. Do you get what I mean? And then the other thing is, all this technology now, we can use it as tools to communicate. These programs that are on TV, I take them when my daughter's watching them. After the thing is finished, I'll sit down and have a conversation with her and says, how do you feel about that scene? How do you feel about what happened with that young woman? What would you do if you were in that kind of predicament? We have to learn to communicate on their level to be able to get the messages through about what it is that we're trying to say, especially when it comes to say for things like you guys in the barbershop, because there are a lot of boys that are going into the barbershops, they're hearing different things. When you guys are coming out of the barbershops and these young men are hearing these conversations, because I apologize if I get your name wrong. So Debonair, you were saying about people saying about being gay and stuff like that. A lot of these boys are in these barbershops listening to different conversations, and it's working on their masculinity, and they don't know where to position themselves. When they come out of those conversations, fathers, uncles that are with them, explain to them some of those conversations that you heard. This is my opinion of those conversations. What those guys were saying is not necessarily true or right. That's what they choose to do. This is how we start to break the cycle. You know what I mean? Open up that kind of positive space. Take 30 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour a week to sit down and have a conversation with your child. We need to be on these DMs, because now predators are coming through social media, coming through the phones. I've had to sit down and have a conversation and show Catfish to my daughter, and I'm a photographer, and show her how I can just, within 15 minutes, get somebody's page and create a social media profile. It's time for us to do the research. This is how we move forward.
Yep. Absolutely. Very well said, Queen, as usual, right?
Can I just the code words and nonverbal cues is huge, especially in the school setting, and especially with kids who have disabilities. Some are not able to communicate. Some who are autism or on the spectrum, they struggle with communication skills and social skills. So it's such a lovely challenge to get the satisfaction of having a child who may be nonverbal with a disability, with an intellectual disability. We used to call them mentally retarded. Now we call them cognitively delayed or intellectually disabled. But it's mentally retarded. And their cognitive intelligence is at a standard score of 70. And just to not make it too clinical or whatever, average or universal score, standard score is 85 to 110. So if you have a child who's a senior working at an IQ of a 70 or 60 or 59, and they're, not able to advocate for themselves, we do use those nonverbal cues. Or if they don't know, because mom might be at a cognitive delay, and we have to just basically be the parent as well as be the educator, as well as be the counselor. And it's a delight when you love to do it like me, you just do it by default. But just the point where you're saying you talk to your child about cues and code words to say, that like warms my heart. I wish we could clone parents like you, because I don't see that. And I've worked from the richest of the Caucasian ISDs to the most like, your mom looks like that's your twin, like that's your that's your mom, and she's only like 16. It's like, what the heck? Okay, hi, this is what I do. So yeah, it's real. And
we
that just
offer them an IEP. We offer them an IEP, and we offer them an IEP, and we get the parent and the child in there so we can identify with both of them.
Yep. The individual education plan. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
The other thing is that art in terms of therapy and music, like when I'm doing sessions with young women and young men, even my daughter at this stage, I'm reading passages with her, I'm doing affirmations, I use magazines and cutouts to be able to do collages, to be able to do vision boards. So I'm building my own language with my daughter to be able to communicate with her and understand her. And through her doing her drawings and her vision boards, it kind of gives me an understanding of where she's at mentally. I've seen the girls do like pictures and they'll cut out this, that, and the other. Do you get what I mean? And I get her to sort of, what does that mean? Where does that come from? Like I said, it's about developing the communication and also the outer circle of saying, this is how I want to raise my child. This is how I'm going to move forward. You know what I mean? There's so much information on the net that we can use to sort of start breaking the cycles, especially like Ples was saying in regards to counseling. Like at the moment, I go through counseling. I'm not in counseling at the moment, but I have at different stages. And my daughter is aware of it. We have to take the shame off it and say it's okay. I explained to her, I've been through some things in my life, and your grandparents are not perfect. They come from trauma, and some of that trauma has been passed down to me. And I've done my best to heal that trauma. But even as a parent, I've learned that there's certain things that have come up subconsciously that I didn't even realize was an issue. So it's still a continued process as a parent. So now I'm preparing my daughter and getting her involved in different counseling services and text talk services, so it grows with her, so she learns and other young people learn that it's okay. Counseling is a good thing. Therapy is life coaches. We all need it at different stages.
Queens.
Very well said. Very
Wow.
well said. Queen Cascade, as usual, it's been a pleasure, my love. Thank you for educating the folks and spreading love in such a positive way. I appreciate you, sis. I do. And I love you.
The one thing that I'd like to say just before I go is, on a local level, what we can also do is go on change.org, sign the petitions, find out what the policies are for your area. Don't allow the politicians to keep lowering the age of consent, because that's what I'm seeing over here at the moment. They're trying to lower and continuously lower the age of consent. And that's so those in those political circles can get away with what it is they're doing. We have to keep pushing the threshold. All right. Thank you for your time,
Georgia,
everybody.
You have a good evening.
Georgia,
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Queen.
No problem.
All right. I'm glad she said that because the sex trafficking is real. And it's just not on a pimp, pimp HOE level. It gets surfed around these political realms and everything. And I'm glad she said that because they really is trying to lower it.
Ruby G, thank you for clarifying. And also Sharice in the chat, that Watchtower building I was talking about is actually called Bethel. And it's almost like, it's like an honor if you apply and get accepted, because it's almost like nuns and priests. You just work there and you serve God, and that's it. Jehovah, that's it. So I just wanted to clarify that because some people just didn't understand. We're going to wrap things up because it's getting late. And this was a very deep topic, and I think we all need to decompress. And again, 211, dial it on your phone for those that are listening here in the United States, and you can get free help, free therapy. You don't have to have insurance. So there is help out there if you need it and you need someone to speak to. And we all need someone to speak to. We all have some things.
Amen.
Lindsay, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for the super chat. Bless the panel. Sending so much love to you all, always. Bonnet Cutie. Yes, you are, Bonnet Cutie. How's your studies going? She's a student. Plaz, where can they find you, my love?
Hey, y'all can find me on Instagram at scared_of_beautiful and on YouTube at Scared of Beautiful, just spaces, no periods. If you can't find it, go to my Instagram bio and click the link, and subscribe. I have some videos coming this week, so subscribe.
Can't wait. Marcella, my love, where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook, All the Housewives Discussion, and I am building up my page, Speak with Your Girl Marcella, on YouTube. And I just want to say, Monica, again, thank you for bringing the hardest topics to the table, because you have opened up eyes, and people did not know you can call 211. Call, get your help, and we are all about that tea is going to be here with them. We're going to be here with them.
Yes, we're always with y'all. Thank you, Marcella. I love you. Schoolboy, where can they find you? You're on mute, baby.
I'm on YouTube at school_boy. So we actually are halfway to 1,000 subscribers. We are halfway, y'all.
Yeah.
Halfway.
Yes, that was
so I need another 500 and we're gonna be at 1,000. So, and then also I'm on Twitter always at school_boy. Then I'm on Instagram at school_boy_2021.
Go follow that sister and follow everybody on this panel. So debonair, my sweetheart. You are so debonair. Where can they find you?
You can find me on everything on social media at So Debonair, or you can check out my podcast, Affairs of the Heart podcast. We go live on Thursday nights on YouTube.
Yeah. You want to follow that brother right there. You want to follow him. Miss Leah, do you want to shout out your social media, or you want to stay, private? Okay. All right. I understand.
Follow all y'all though. So
right, exactly.
It's LA. That's all me. LA. That's it.
Okay. All right. Bishop, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube at The Bishop. This is with the double E's. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Bishop Red Pill.
Okay. All right. Y'all go follow Bishop Red Pill. He gets really deep over there in the dimensions of the brain and society and all kinds of things. 3rd and 4th generation to the moon and back. I mean, listen, it gets deep. Very analytical. It gets very deep over there. Okay. All I say is don't go over there high, don't smoke, don't drink. Clear.
No Hennessy.
Your mind needs to be very clear. Okay. We need you lucid over there.
And we be having our after shows too, but I haven't done one in a while. So the after dark shows.
You gotta invite after dark now. No, I'll be in bed by then. After dark. Teacups. I reside here on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 100K before the year's out. And if you already subscribed to the channel, bang that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the piping hot tea. Once you bang that notification bell, make sure you look up and you have to click on all notifications. Thank you, Schoolboy. He taught me. She taught me that. Make sure you click on all notifications so you don't miss it on your phone. Then turn notifications for YouTube on your phone and your laptop so you don't miss it. Mods, well, Teacups, thank y'all for tuning in. First of all, I know this was a very deep and heavy topic, but we're not done supporting Raz B. We want justice for Raz B. And y'all know how it go over here, right? The Homeland Security, DEA, FBI. We got everybody tuning in, right? Monica got arms and legs in all of the federal agencies, but I'm not. Okay, I'm just here to provide the data. Okay. Teacups, I love you all. I love you all. Hugs and kisses to you. Thank you for rocking with us tonight. Mods, thank you for holding down the chat. I love and appreciate y'all very much. Everyone that sent in a super chat or a cash app, thank you for helping us keep these lights on. You really have no clue how much that support means to us. I want y'all to stay safe and be blessed. And we'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, everyone. Bye.